Hello, guys and gals. Me, Muda Harn. You might be like, "Whoa, what's with the darkness there, man?" Muda, what are you doing? It's 3 in the morning, ladies and gentlemen. Some would call it witching hour. I would like to call it the death of FaZe Clan. I would whip out the Ouija board, ladies and gentlemen, but I'll put on the old strip club lighting for everybody watching. Yeah, this is FaZe Clan's website. Now, you might be wondering, "Whoa, that takes me back to the past." Now, I remember FaZe Clan for me is a pretty important thing, okay? Back in the day when I was a much younger man, I'll be real with you, I used to watch trick shotting montages. You know, back in the day, there was a game called Modern Warfare 2, the original good one. And inside there were two clans, Optic Gaming and FaZe Clan, the old MLG era. You know, these were two clans that pretty much just, I would say, popularized that whole like gaming phenomenon on the internet. Now, FaZe Clan of today's day and age is a lot fucking different than what I grew up with. Now, if I go to the old FaZe Clan roster here, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, it's got people like FaZe Silky, FaZe Ronaldo, FaZe Lacey. This is all bullshit, by the way, because, ladies and gentlemen, all these people have left FaZe Clan, left FaZe Clan, left FaZe Clan. 14 years, half of my life, I'd be lying. Left FaZe Clan. Yeah, it seems like basically everyone inside FaZe Clan has just left FaZe Clan. Now, I was wondering, why the fuck is everyone at FaZe Clan just leaving? Now, I tried to get to the bottom of this using super duper investigative skills here, and it turns out that I had to go to our old friend Aiden Ross. You might remember of MILF token fame, if anything.
Chat, by the way, that MILF token shit I did a while back, I already told you guys, don't buy that shit. I got paid a bag to do that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. I hope none of you guys actually bought it.
Yeah, Aiden Ross had a fair bit to explain about why is it that people left FaZe Clan. So I want you to kind of listen to this one.
I don't know about Ron and Rage because they've been there. Lacey, Jason, Max, they were supposed to sign a contract where they would be giving up 20% of their income to join FaZe, right? I don't know if this is true or false. This is from my understanding what I think happened, okay? Now, that's correct in my opinion, right? Because at that time, they weren't the size they were.
Dude, this guy's chat is so fucking insane. Oy vey. He's a Jew. Whoo! God damn. Aiden Ross's chat's got a whole bunch of happy merchant stuff going on, that's for sure. But to give you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if that's entirely true. He doesn't even know if that's entirely true. But this doesn't really shock me, generally, when it comes to it. It almost reminds me of things like the music industry. There's a great YouTuber by the name of Barely Sociable. He hasn't uploaded in a fair bit, so I should probably reach out and just see if he's still actually alive. But the few times I've talked to him kind of reminds me of the whole music industry, where a lot of these organizations sort of come in, and they're basically mostly predatory in this situation. So, from what I'm gathering, FaZe Clan had this idea of like signing people up, and it seems like most of these people pretty much built their entire platforms themselves. And FaZe Clan was like, yeah, can we have a little percentage of that? Now, again, I don't really know if that's true or not, but to give you an idea of it, imagine if FaZe Clan signed me, FaZe Ordinary Gamers. It's like, yeah, Muda, can we have 20% of the income you make? I would probably tell them to fucking goat see their assholes, because they ain't seeing a fucking dime of anything that they didn't actually create themselves. And this is one of the things when it comes to any of these organizations, it's how much do they put for you? But again, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out that 20% of a personal brand is kind of an insane thing to ask. So a lot of the people involved here just kind of left, which makes me honestly wonder if there's even something more sinister behind it. Because listen, people leaving is one thing. Everyone unanimously leaving? Well, that's a whole different story. So looking a little bit closer into this from livemint.com, so these play the journeys we go on this channel to find the reality of the weird world we live in. The current financial structure of FaZe is unsustainable. According to Matt Kalish, Chief Executive Officer of Hardscope, I love these org names, dude. He gave the influencers who operated from a multi-million-dollar Los Angeles mansion the option to go independent or sign deals. So yeah, apparently, if you haven't been following with FaZe Clan, you know, it really wasn't a gaming brand, I would say. There's actually two versions of FaZe Clan. There's FaZe Clan as we know it, FaZe Media, and then there's FaZe Esports. Now, the esports division, from my understanding, does pretty well. You know, you can catch them on Counter-Strike, you can catch them on Rainbow Six Siege. Basically, some of the most popular games, the FaZe Esports division is in. And they actually do come in at pretty good rankings last time I checked. You know, especially in the Rainbow Six Siege circuit, which is probably the only esports circuit that I actually paid attention to. FaZe Clan was pretty much high up there. And I think a lot of that just came from the fact that they just pretty much poached some of the best players in the region they played and just operated like that. Now, obviously, my only real connection to FaZe Clan is with its former main leader, Brother Banks. I have nothing to do with what's going on at FaZe Clan right now. I left 4 months ago and have moved on with my life. Unfortunate to see, wishing everyone involved the best. If there's anything I can do to help, I'm here. Nobody loves FaZe more than me. And, you know, I know this man loved FaZe, all right? Let me tell you, there was a while, way back in the day, this is especially after the first time. For me, one of the reasons I also wanted to make this video is the last real connection I've ever had with FaZe Clan was like years ago. Remember when we covered the Save the Kids token scam? And there were a couple connections, actually more than a couple connections to FaZe Clans, at least some of their top players, some of the top, not players, but top like idols at the time, their top like, wow, I'm thinking like a VTuber agency, some of their top like, performers. And the thing about it is, obviously, the whole the whole house of cards started crashing down from there. You had FaZe Clan at the time going, oh, guys, we don't really want to get involved in any of this crypto nonsense. It was basically crypto heyday, crypto NFT heyday. And I would say that FaZe Clan and some of the connections, especially Banks, I would say was pretty much involved in a lot of like, he was a very influential person when it came to just talking about cryptocurrencies or NFTs, not saying that he was involved in any scams in this case. The man almost threatened to sue me because of discussing this kind of stuff. But to give you an idea, Banks was just in general really, really bullish on things like cryptos and NFTs. And I think surrounding himself with other people that were also bullish on this and then having that kind of stuff bleed into the brand of FaZe was kind of where things started to take almost that snowball like fucking turn down into hell. Because ultimately, that was the only thing people kind of associated like FaZe Clan with, you know, crypto nonsense, scam bullshit. When in reality, it kind of just started off as a, I would say, somewhat humble esports, somewhat humble Call of Duty fucking montage community. Now, Brother Banks had this to say about another ex-FaZe Clan member, Black Boy Max. These names are fucking sending me, dude. You guys see the way I spoke to him via our text messages? He fucked his friends over, left because he thought he was the program, and has admitted multiple times it was strictly a career move. The kid thinks he's Travis Scott, and it's a shame it's come to this. Lying on, dragging someone who's only ever helped you, botting views. Now, the botting view stuff is pretty wild because if you look into the history of like some of these like content creators, especially on like the FaZe circuit, the new guys, you know, going from like a couple thousand viewers all the way to like 5 digits, you know, there's definitely an issue with Twitch TV and just in the streaming space in general when it comes to view botting. Twitch has admitted this. Plenty of streamers have seen this. I mean, we all can just at least be honest and admit with ourselves that some of the top players in the game may not really be as big as they actually are. But that is the case. I think personally, view botting a stream is kind of cringe behavior, but I guess if that's the way of the stream, that's the way of the stream. Even some FaZe Clan members kind of feel the same thing too. So again, I wonder what's going to happen to viewership numbers, or I guess maybe if they were view botting, allegedly, then they probably figured out the game beyond just, you know, giving FaZe their cut for what they could probably do at a fraction of the cost.
The boys are at the height of everything. They're back-to-back orgs of the year. Fucking demons, right? Everybody in FaZe averaging 10, 20K. Oh, you know, all the boys are averaging 10, 20K viewers. And then like the best sponsor we could grab was 4Loco. It was, I was sitting there thinking like something's weird. Like I feel like, especially with now, the best we can do is 4Loco. Bro, there's 7 people in FaZe averaging 20K viewers. These motherfuckers, they should have been on a cover of cereal boxes. Like, oh, I was sitting there like, wait, there's something's not making sense. Like, how the fuck, like 2 years ago, did we have Porsche and McDonald's, Ron has 35K viewers building a slide. I remember I called one of the internal people. I said, "Yo, Ron is averaging 35K viewers building a slide in the back of the backyard. It should be a Nike slide. Why is it not a Nike slide?"
That when it comes to the space, there's just a lot of bullshit behind it, and there's just not a lot of reality when it comes to these streams anyways. It's just a way for these people to feel bigger than they actually are. But it's interesting to me to see that, somebody like Banks is now talking about botting views, especially long after that. I guess he's somewhat benefiting from it because now he's given up or relinquished a lot of this FaZe stuff too. So just an interesting point that came to my head. And to this day, there's still some pretty influential, cool FaZe guys, like FaZe Jeff, for instance, who I don't even know why he has FaZe Clan in his name. He just does his own fucking thing. Pretty sure at this point he probably had like equity or some shit, or was just there for a long time. But yeah, that was one of the reasons why I was super interested watching FaZe Clan sort of evolve ever since the Save the Kid stuff. It wasn't even like long ago, literally, like I would say probably 1 year ago, back in 2024, well, 2 years ago at this point, FaZe Clan literally was taken private. FaZe Clan was on the NASDAQ. They were literally a publicly traded organization. Like, you could literally see back when they went public, it kind of went boom during their initial public offering, and then everything fucking cratered down. To the point when they actually went under $1, they hit what we call the NASDAQ's like big rule. Like as soon as you go under $1, you're at a threat of being delisted. But the reality of it is like people have to ask, what is the point of making this internet like clan, this gaming clan, like an actual public offering? Because at the time, obviously FaZe Clan was saying, listen, guys, we're like MTV. we're like Gen Z's like favorite crew. When in reality, it's like, what money is FaZe actually making? At some point in March 2024, GameSquare ended up actually merging with them out of pure necessity. Now, at the time, FaZe Clan was valued at around, I believe, $17 million. And the reality of it is that, when you looked inside the actual financials of FaZe Clan, I think they were losing something around $10 to $15 million a quarter. So GameSquare comes in. Now, obviously, later, GameSquare sold 25.5% of its interest from FaZe Media, and clearly they continued to own 100% of the actual profitable section of FaZe Clan, which was the esports. And that's pretty much what is, honestly, out of everything business related, the smartest thing was separating the media Playboy side from the actual gaming side of FaZe. And obviously when this was relinquished, that was, I would say, the birth of modern FaZe Clan. And now we're obviously looking at the death of FaZe Clan. And I think honestly, it's the final time. The other thing that honestly came out of this whole thing too was apparently there could also be other legal troubles as well too. So this clip I found interesting.
I'm kidding about that one, okay? Like, being fully honest right now, boom. Legally, it was just best to not go live, say anything, whatever it is, because y'all know how that can go. You know what I'm saying? We're in a business where things can happen very fast, this, that, and the other. All of a sudden, you know me, I'm from fucking Sweden, it's not even my first language. All of a sudden, I can't even say the right thing, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? This has nothing to do with, this has nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying?
At that point, if we're going to be doing the whole minute rigmarole, just get the fucking lawyers, okay? Don't even say anything. Just let the lawyers handle it. But yeah, I don't know what legal trouble could be kind of happening over there, but to be real with you, there's been a lot of wild stuff that came out of FaZe Clan. Like apparently earlier this year, you guys like FaZe Rain calling FaZe Temper an actual predator. But one thing that, honestly did kind of come out of FaZe Clan, and one of the reasons why, like, again, I just sort of fell off, like, kind of following them for a long time was because of other goofy things that they were doing. Goofy things in the world of crypto, no less. So earlier on, there was something that you probably saw earlier, I want to say like in this year, or actually late last year in 2024, when you had something known as MLG token. Yes, MLG token existed for a little bit, and it was launched as a gaming culture meme cryptocurrency and was hyped by Banks and Aiden Ross. So yeah, again, when you got Aiden Ross anywhere near your crypto token, you know things are about to go fucked in every capacity, okay? I mean, this is the guy that straight up told his audience, yeah, you shouldn't invest in anything that I'm putting money into because I'm just getting a fucking bag, boys. I mean, seriously, this is literally the guy. You shouldn't follow him for any sort of financial advice. You're a fucking idiot if you do. Banks pointed the finger at Ross, saying he used the coins as exit liquidity. Basically, it's a rug pull, so as soon as your fans put money into a token, you pull out your liquidity, you get the bag, and everyone else is actually holding on to literal bags of actual shit on the internet. Aiden Ross fucked this up. This community dumped on him buying, used him as exit liquidity. His ego got hurt, blamed Frank. Him and Frank got into it privately. Aiden despises Frank. Yeah, I mean, again, look at who you got into bed with, bro. Come on now. Like, seriously. And of course, when it came to the good old MLG token, Banks was like, bro, look, I never scammed anyone a day in my life. That whole narrative is unfair. And part of the reason it exists because my FaZe name is so easily farmed and manipulated. The fact that this is affecting the guys at all is whack. So for the time being, I'm going to step away from not only FaZe, but all this internet shit. It's destroying my life inside and out. And you know what? Honestly, always focus on your fucking mental health is what I'll say. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, FaZe Clan has been through some pretty tumultuous times. And it's kind of wild because earlier when I was younger, dude, FaZe Clan was like the clan you watched. It was just a thing on the internet. You know, you just watch these guys do 360 no-scope trick shots. And you just kind of goofed off and laughed. And never in a million years did I think at the time that FaZe Clan would ever reach the insane heights where, you know, they enter their vlogging era where they had their initial content house. And then, of course, then came the whole crypto era. Then the recent FaZe Clan era where, again, I would say Banks did a pretty good job revitalizing it a little bit. Like, you had a whole bunch of these streamers on when they were on. And as soon as they left, you know, now we're looking at FaZe Clan as a giant shell of an organization. Now, to be fair, FaZe Clan asking 20% money allegedly from people is not something that I wouldn't expect to happen. Obviously, I think the issue with a lot of these organizations is if you scoot that esports aside, right, you know, that's probably making money to an extent. Even then, esports stuff, from what I heard, is mostly a passion project for people. You're always expecting to lose money, even in the best of cases. But when it comes to the media division, I think FaZe Clan just wanted to be like the next Playboy, the next like fucking big media house. And the reality of it is that if you're running an organization and you're not actually making money, you're just like spending a shit ton of money and everyone else is getting rich off of that name, sure, go for it. But obviously, you know, when you look at the crypto era phase, when you look at this modern era phase, hell, when you look at stupid decisions like getting Snoop Dogg on your board of directors and him basically doing nothing but taking a bag and fucking off after a while, you can't begin to think for a second that FaZe Clan made intelligent decisions in this. No, ultimately, I think them dying was just supposed to happen. You know, there's other clans in the space. Like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this, you had Optic Gaming, which, you know, back during the early Xbox 360 console jihad, you had FaZe Clan versus Optic Gaming. And I can only imagine the fellas over at Optic Gaming are probably genuinely sad that one of their longtime competitors is effectively deader than goddamn Elvis. But at the same time, I mean, shit, motherfucker, you won. Congratulations. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the death of FaZe Clan cannot be exaggerated. You know, it's funny because it started off with some pretty cool people, but I really think that FaZe Clan attracted probably some of the worst scumbags inside their organization. Obviously, not everyone in this organization is a bad guy, but I would say that, you know, throughout my last few years watching FaZe Clan and some of the people that have infested this organization with their financial bullshit, I would say that this organization probably attracted some of the worst rot imaginable. And I think that when, you know, you go back to the Save the Kids token, I want to be completely real with you. I think that was sort of the writing on the wall, right? Like the direction that FaZe Clan had taken at that time, at least the people that they allowed into their organization and the people that, you know, unfortunately shat all over that organization, I think that was when it began, right? From there to now, I think you can gradually point every single like dot on the line and see exactly where things went shit. But yeah, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, FaZe Clan is dead. Am I shocked? No. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like for me, this is kind of like closing a chapter on a book. So yeah, maybe it might come back, maybe it won't. I don't know. If FaZe Clan is still up for sale, I might even consider putting down an offer, okay? I would love to have one organization under my belt. Even as dead as FaZe Clan is, at some point it's a piece of internet gaming, internet culture that I think cannot go understated. So ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it, I am out.